I know you can get into it digitally, but so we're in 1 Samuel. We're still in Samuel, and we're going to be finishing up. I'll just kind of give you a kind of heads up as to where we're going. I see that first slide there. Where we're going is we're going to finish Samuel at the end of November, end of this month. Then we're going to enter our Advent season. Got a special treat for you there, and that's all I'll say there. Then when we get into January, we're going to go back into 2 Samuel, but we're not going to spend a year like we would in 2 Samuel. We're going to spend 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks in 2 Samuel, okay? Then we're going to go to Acts. We're going to get into Acts. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Okay, smoke showing. Did you guys see the smoke showing? What's that mean? What's that all about, right? I got a slide. I got a slide for you. Okay, so as you know, I spent a career as a fireman. The picture on the left was in 2017. I think it was the day after Christmas. And we got on scene, and when we see the smoke, that's when we like to see smoke, because smoke means we're going to go to a fire. When we and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to go to fires, and you can see that fire got really, really extremely hot. So hot we were all the way down to the floor, trying to find the seed of the fire to put it out, until the vent crew came in, and you can see the damage there to my helmet. But all of this is for us as we look at the smoke. We're going to see smoke's coming. David's going to see some smoke. The painful path of sanctification. The author of Samuel, this narrative is amazing. Taking us from this sad story of Saul and then contrasting it to this sanctifying story of David. He calls David in chapter 16. He doesn't become the king until the end, until 2 Samuel. And so he's got to go through this wilderness, this sanctification. And sometimes our sanctification, it's painful. That purifying fire of the Lord. And so we see that David, that purifying fire. But so we go from Saul, last week or 2 weeks ago, chapter 28. Remember, the Philistines are gathering again to fight against the Israelites, and they're up at Jezreel, and that's where we were in chapter 28, because the author's kind of pogoing here, okay? So he's pogoing. Saul, he wants to get some intel. He wants to understand, what should I do? The Israelites are gathering again, just like they had at Gilgal in chapter 13, how they did at Aphek in chapter 4. So he wants to get intel, and he inquires of the Lord. What happens? The crickets, right? He did not hear from the Lord. And so what did he do? He had previously casted out all of the necromancers, those fortune tellers. And then he finds one. He disguises himself. And who does God bring up? Samuel. And what does Samuel do? He finally renders his death sentence, and it's time-stamped. Tomorrow you are going to die. So that's the end of chapter 28. So here we are, we're on our edge of our seats. What's going to happen? Saul, it goes over to David, this sanctifying fire that David's going to face. And so let's pray, and then let's get into the text. Lord, we just thank you for your word, your living, active, sharper than a double-edged sword word. I pray that it would cut us. Just like when we go to the operating table, we get our IV line, Lord, and we get prepared for surgery. Lord, I pray that we would come before the operating table open to have surgery on our hearts and on our minds, that we would not be conformed by the pattern of this world. We would be transformed by the renewing of our mind. Lord, speak to us. Use me, your servant, Lord, as a voice for your truth. May I speak and teach with what is in accord with sound doctrine, making clear what it is that we are reading, so that we could understand and make a decision and follow and respond appropriately to this truth. We thank you, Jesus. Amen. Okay, chapter 29, verse 1. I'm going to read the whole chapter. The Philistines gathered all of their forces at Aphek, and Israel camped by the spring of Jezreel. As the Philistines, now let me stop right there. So the Philistines are at Aphek. They're making their way up north to where Saul is up at Jezreel. The Philistine rulers marched with their units of hundreds and thousands. Gives you the scope of this sophisticated army. David and his men were marching in the rear with Achish. So remember David? Remember he went to the Philistines in chapter 27 and he started casting out these raids. His army grew up to 600. So David with his men, they're in the back with Achish. The commanders of the Philistines asked, "What about these Hebrews?" Achish replied, "Is this not David, who was an officer of Saul, king of Israel? He has already been with me for over a year, and from the day he left Saul until now, I have found no fault in him." But the Philistine commanders were angry with him and said, "Send the man back, that he may return to the place you assigned him. He must not go with us into battle, or he will turn against us during the fighting. How better could he regain his master's favor than by taking the heads of our own men? Isn't this the David they sang about in their dances? Saul has slain the thousands, and David his tens of thousands." So Achish called David and said to him, "As surely as the Lord lives, you have been reliable, and I would be pleased to have you serve with me in the army. From the day you came to me until now, I have found no fault in you, but the rulers don't approve of you. Turn back and go in peace. Do nothing to displease the Philistine rulers." "But what have I done?" asked David. "What have you found against your servant from the day I came to you until now? Why can't I go and fight against the enemies of my lord, the king?" Achish replied, "I know that you have been as pleasing in my eyes as an angel of God. Nevertheless, the Philistine commanders have said, 'He must not go up with us into battle.' Now get up early along with your master's servants who have come with you, and leave in the morning as soon as it is light." So David and his men got up early in the morning to go back to the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. That's where Saul is. Okay, so we pick up this story. If you look back, chapter 28, verse 1, it says that in those days the Philistines gathered against their forces against Israel. Chapter 29, verse 1, the Philistines they're gathering their forces as they had. Remember, highly sophisticated war machine. Okay, so they're marching their way from the southern Negev, that area to the south, up through to the north where they're going to fight. And they're going to end up fighting at Mount Gilboa. We'll see that in the next coming weeks here. So they have chariots. Remember when they gathered against the Philistines in chapter 13? So they had 6,000 chariots and 600 charioteers, and they just had as many men as there were what? Anybody? Sand on the seashore. There were so many of them, thousands, and they're marching up. So let's show you really quick. So this is where they're coming from the south, right? There's Ziklag. That's where his temporary living situation was in Philistine land. You can see Gaza and Ashkelon and Ashdod. Those were Philistines' land. Gath, Ekron. They go up to, you see the front there, that's Aphek. And then they're going to end up at the top. That's where, see that Endor? That's where the witch at Endor, that's where Saul is already there. Okay? So that's where they're heading. So remember, when they fought against them in Aphek, did anybody remember Aphek? Chapter 4? This was the first time where it says the Israelites gathered their forces to fight against the Philistines. Remember what they did? They fought them, and then they lost 4,000 men. And what did they do? All right, let's go get the ark. So they go get the ark. We're going to bring the ark, and the ark is going to be like our good luck charm. And then what happened? They lost 30,000 men. Remember? And then Hophni and Phinehas, Eli's sons, he dies, and it's real bad. Then Eli dies. So that was the last time they fought at Aphek. But now they're not fighting at Aphek. They're gathering at Aphek. And that's where they're marching. And though I don't do it too much now because I don't have the time to read, but I love war history. And World War I, when it was called the Schlieffen Plan, and that's when Germany decided to wage war on France. And so they're marching as a unit. And it's said that they went right through Belgium, which was a neutral country. And they went right through. And it is said that the mass of army looked like a sea of gray, because it's like they lined the streets as width, and they just were marching. And the people were watching this wall of gray go through their country. And they're like, we're neutral. Well, not for long. But that's what I imagine. This army, they're so sophisticated, right? And here they come. And then what do we hear? Somebody from the cheap seats says, wait, tell me why David's with us. Why is David with us? He was one of Saul's commanders. And you can see how Achish, what does he do? He's like, he was a captain. He admits he's like so hoodwinked by David and that he was Saul's commander. And here he is marching with them. And that one of the commanders says, wait, what? Why? Remind me why he's with us again? He's going to turn on us. He's going to turn on us and fight us just at the right moment. Look at the derogatory term. It's the first kind of anti-Semitic term used, calling them outsiders or foreigners. These Hebrews, what are these Hebrews doing with us? This is our fight. We're going to go fight the Hebrews, and we have Hebrews with us in the back. In the back. You know, if you follow wolves, how the wolf, the leader of the wolf, the wolf pack, you know where he is? You think he's up front? He's in the back. He's in the very, very back. And they strategically place the fighting wolves up front. But David, he is a force to be reckoned with. His military prowess against the Philistines is unmatched. And here he is in the back. Like, they're setting themselves up for basically being ambushed. They're fighting the Israelites, and then they got David in the back. And they're like, wait, why is he with us? Of course, he's with Achish. Why is he with us? Is this not David? You see they got very angry. Verse 4, but the Philistine commanders got very angry with him. Send him back. Send him back. It's not like sending back a overcooked steak. I mean, this was send that guy, send him back. So Achish, he comes to his defense. No, guys, he's good. He's been with me for 1 year and 4 months. He's good. I trust him. So deceived he was. But I'm thinking, one thing we can kind of learn, just a micro takeaway from these commanders, that they stood up. They saw some deception. They were like, this isn't right. So they spoke boldly. And they went to the king and said, no. And they stood their ground. Despite him trying to defend David, they stood their ground. They spoke boldly, identifying the obvious. And that's for us, the micro takeaway there is, be bold in your faith. When you see deception, be bold. Stand firm. Speak up. You know, again, we're still in this kind of military theme here. Imagine, trench warfare. They're in the trench. They're in the bottom of the trench. How effective is a war fighter if he's in the trench? Effective? No. What does he have to do? He has to expose himself. He has to get above to steady his rifle, exposing his torso, his head to doing what? To being what? Shot. So being bold. Don't be quiet. Stand firm in your faith. They risked their lives. These commanders risked their life to go against the king. What's he say? Verse 4, they say, that he may return to the place you assigned him. No, before that, he has already been moved for 4 years. Or they bring up in verse 5, let's read that. But the Philistine commanders were angry with him and said, send him back, that he may return to the place you assigned him. He must not go with us, or he will turn against us during the fighting. How better could he regain his master's favor by taking the heads of our own men? Does that ring a bell? It should. Taking their heads. Did David take a head of anybody? Of a Philistine? Yeah, he sure did. Right? Gath, right? The Goliath, the champion, he took his head with his own sword. These guys, you can imagine, some of these fighting men were there in the valley of Elah. That's subjective. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But I do know that David was there, and David now is marching with the Philistines. I'm thinking some of those guys are like, Goliath was my cousin. You took his head and you held it up with his sword. That vivid imagery. Look at God's sovereign hand. He's painting this sanctification story. And we're seeing it unfold, and he's doing the same in our lives. Back when I was a fireman, there were things that I saw that I can't unsee, and images that just are awful, like just really, really bad. And these guys saw the image of Goliath, and God just decides to bring that to mind. That guy that's marching with you, he held Goliath's head. How much more for him to regain his master's, favor by taking our heads? Look at Achish trying to defend him. Verse 6. David, he said, as surely as the Lord, you've been so reliable. You've been pleasing to me. He says, I know that you have been as pleasing in my eyes as an angel of God. Remember, Achish, Philistines, remember their God? What is their God's name? Remember? Dagon, the fish god. Remember, his head fell off. Remember when they put it next to the ark? Nope, head fell down and head fell off. Lots of heads falling off here. But he comes to his defense, and he brings up Yahweh. He brings up the Lord, not small, lowercase Lord. He brings up uppercase Lord. Yahweh, God, you're like an angel of God. And so let's take a quick pause here and take a look at the parallels between Achish and Saul. Both made David their bodyguards. Both were impressed with David's military prowess. Both promoted David up through the ranks. Both badly misjudged David. One thought that he was his buddy and they was on his side, though he was his enemy. The other should have seen him as his commander, and he treated him as an enemy. Remember, it all goes back to chapter 8, when the people said, we want a king. We want to be like the other nations. We want to be just like the Philistines. And here, these parallels collide. Saul is just like Achish. So David, verse 8, not sure what David happened here. What have I done? He's been so wrongfully accused so often, and here he's wrongfully accused again, and he comes, what have I done? What have you found? What have I done to deserve that I can't fight against my enemies? And so some commentators believe that it's subjectivity. We don't know why. Some assume that David was just kind of playing the part. He wanted to get to the battle so that he could turn on the Israelites or he was going into the battle just trusting that God would show up, just like he did when he couldn't put on Saul's armor. He couldn't, I don't need that. I'm just going to bring a sling. And God's going to fight this battle. I'm not fighting this battle. God is going to fight this battle. So I kind of tend to think that David was going to fight against the Philistines and not against his people. Because the Philistines, it wasn't wrong for them to bring that up, because it actually happened in chapter 14 when Jonathan picked a fight, right, with the Philistines at Michmash, and then this war comes up and they're starting to fight, and the Hebrews, as it said, the Hebrews that were living amongst the Philistines, they turned on them. They turned on the Philistines. So they have history here. They're like, he's going to do the exact same thing. He said, look at verse 10. It doesn't matter. Achish says, you got to get up. Tomorrow, I know that we've been traveling up. You've been traveling up. We've all been making our way up to Aphek. Tomorrow morning, I want you to get up. I want you to take your men, and you got to take off. You don't ignore the Philistine commanders, or actually don't make them mad. So verse 11, David and his men got up early in the morning to the land of the Philistines, and as the Philistines went north, David went south. God opened the door for this. This is God's hand. He prompted these Philistine commanders to remember the image of their fallen soldier, or Goliath and his head. He prompted them to speak up to Achish, to tell Achish so that Achish would turn him around. Because ultimately, the author is providing David with a ironclad just alibi that he had nothing to do with what's going to happen tomorrow, which was what? The battle. And that's where Saul is going to die. So David is way to the south. No way he can be accused of, because he was living with the Philistines. That's accurate. He was. But he was nowhere near the fighting. Nowhere near. You think of these men. Their swords are sharp. They're ready. They're ready to fight. And just at that moment, turn around. Has that ever happened to you? You ever planned something, prepared, trained for, ready to start, only to get the call? Nah, you're not going to be in the game. You're going to be on the bench. And that's, they took their best fighter, their best MVP, and they benched him. But all part of God's sovereign plan. They planned, they prepared, they trained for, they rehearsed, and at the last hour, they were told to stand down. Because God had other plans for David. And we're going to see that smoke's showing. David had no idea. He had no idea. Nor did his men know where they were going. When we make plans, sometimes when we make plans, don't we do this? We kind of start to hold on to it like this. We kind of, all right, this is my plan. I put in all this effort. I want this. I've worked for it, so I'm going to get it. So before I got hired in the fire department, I finally got my first offer, and it was with a CDF up in Redding, and I was down in Cupertino. And at the time, I was skateboarding, and I broke my wrist skateboarding 2 or 3 weeks before the academy was supposed to start. I call up the chief. I got a cast on. I got a broken wrist. Good luck, son. No more job offer. That I had planned. I had prepared. I was like, Lord, why did that happen? I'm sorry, pointing fingers at God. But he had a different plan. He had a different plan. And thankfully, he had me get hired with a different agency only a month later. But we have to, when we make plans and we make preparations, we can't hold on to them so tightly. We have to recognize that God's sovereign. He knows. He's got a plan, and right now, he's got a plan for David. A couple of the takeaways here from just this chapter, because we're going to get into the second chapter, or chapter 30 in a moment. His hand is over all of it. He provided that bomb-proof alibi that he's not going to be anywhere near Saul's death. The author tells us that David never once fought against Israel. And then he sets us up for this really big twist in chapter 30. So you ready? Here we go. David and his men reached Ziklag on the third day. Okay, 3 days to get back down. Now the author kind of gives us a little hint. This is where David's going. This is what David's going to see. Now the Amalekites had raided the Negev and Ziklag, and they had attacked Ziklag, burned it, and had taken captive the women and all who were in it, both young and old. They killed none of them, but carried them off as they went on their way. When David and his men came to Ziklag, they found it by fire, and their sons and daughters taken captive. So David and his men wept aloud until they had no strength left to weep. David had been captured, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. David was greatly distressed because the men were talking of stoning him. Each one was bitter in spirit because of his sons and daughters. And then the end of verse 6. But David found strength in the Lord, his God. So these men, these war fighters, they're ready to fight. They're not sure who they're going to fight. They're just following David. And now they're being told, turn around, go back. It took us 3 days to get here. or however, we don't know how long it took them to get to Aphek, but we know this, we're told it took 3 days to get back. They're hiking. You got to spend the night tonight, and then tomorrow in the morning you're heading back. So they start to head back. 3 days is a long time to think, right? It's 3 days. Think, not knowing, waiting for that job offer, waiting for the such and such, whatever it is, just waiting. Come on, I'm waiting for that call. These guys are waiting. They're waiting to go back home. A furlough. We get to stop fighting. I get to hug my family, kiss my kids, work on some of those honeydews. They're thinking they're on their way back home. We live our lives in such an illusion of control. We think we know. We make plans, we make preparations. We think we know what's next. God knows what's next. We have to recognize He is sovereign all the time. The Amalekites. Remember the Amalekites? Wait, Amalekites? I thought they were supposed to be dead. That's right, they were. Chapter 15. God commanded Saul to kill them all. What did he do? He didn't. He kept the good stuff. He kept the king alive. And so a number of Amalekites were able to muster enough, a small enough army or force to then go down and recognize, because maybe they were sitting like the Belgians and seeing, oh, look at this huge wall of gray heading north. I bet Ziklag is going to be vacant. And it was. Let's wait till they go by. Yep, they're gone. Let's go raid Ziklag. And so they did. The Amalekites. They were like that pesty rodents. Anybody dealing with rodents this year? I mean, whether it's the ants or the mice or the weeds, there's always something. And there was enough of these ants, these weeds, that they went in, they gathered, and to ransack. And it says that they set it ablaze, and they took captive. Normally, they would kill everyone, because David. Now remember, David in chapter 27, he went on these raids. And remember what he did? He killed everyone, because this was a scheme to trick Achish in saying, yeah, I'm fighting against enemies. I'm fighting against the Israelites, when in fact he was fighting against the Israelite enemies who might have been allies with the Philistines. So they wipe them out, he says, so that nobody could come back and go, wait, David did that. So he was burning and he was destroying all of these areas. And here the Amalekites didn't do that. Why? God. God's sovereign hand. It was his plan. This was a plan. This was God, the sanctifying plan for David. So they're tired. They're tired from this three-day ruck back. They got all their gear. They're heading back. And lo and behold, what do they see? They see some smoke. They see some smoke, puffs of smoke. And so that's one thing. When we were dispatched to a fire, smoke has different colors. You ever notice why? I'll tell you why. A little fire chemistry. If it's gray, it's more natural products that are burning, like grass and trees and brush. If it's black, then it's incomplete combustion. There's plastics, there's hydrocarbons. And so we always liked the black smoke, because the black smoke meant structure fire. We always really wanted to go to structure fires. So I imagine that these guys, as they're walking back, hiking back, and they see this puff, they knew immediately what that smoke was. No, that's just not some random grass fire out into Negev. That is directly where we live. They know exactly where they live, and that is Ziklag. So you can imagine as they mosey, they're starting to skip. They're starting to run to an all-out sprint to get back, because they know what they're going to. Like when it was black smoke, we did everything we could to be first on scene. I mean, we wanted to get there. And just like these guys, they wanted to get home, because they knew exactly what they were facing, thinking, Ziklag is on fire. Where's my family? Imagine. Kind of put yourself, how would you respond if that was you to find out? And maybe some of you, even today, have stories of, yeah, I remember when I got that call, that tragic event that took place. I remember where I was. I remember what I was eating or where. It happens. And so these guys, they knew that they were going to destroyed by fire. So they're coming off of joy to sorrow to despair. Remember when God allowed Satan to tempt Job? He said, consider Job. He's like, yeah, well then let me have a turn at him. All right, I'm going to let you out on a leash. You can. And so what does he do? All of these things take place, and it says, while he was still speaking. So here, guess what? The sheep are dead. Guess what? The buildings, the animals, the family. It was while they were still speaking, the next guy would come with the news. And imagine this news that Job is receiving. Despair. But David and his men, what does it say there? I love it. Verse 4. Let's go there. The word so. It's a conjunction, bringing two independent clauses together. So David and his men, because of what happened, the conjunction, so David and his men wept aloud until they had no more strength to weep. As if there was nothing else they could do but to weep. And they're already tired from hiking for so long, making this way back to Ziklag. Now they're just bawling. Where's my family? Gone. What did they do with them? Unknown. Where's my house? Burned. And why did all of this take place? As they're just crying on the ground and seeing rocks on the ground. And they stand up with their rocks and go, David, this is all your fault. Why are we even in Ziklag? We should have never been down here. But then we were going to go fight. We left our families abandoned, and now they're gone. Our houses are burned down. This is that sanctifying David, and now they're crying, and they consider what? Stoning him. Like, let's just kill David and be done with this. This living on the run has just been awful. So they have their cry, and sometimes that's what we need to do when we get that call. We just have to have a good cry. Just let it out. You know, in Ecclesiastes, there's a time for everything and a time to weep. Because Ziklag to them represented their hope, their security. So I ask you, what is your Ziklag? Where do you put your hope, your trust, your faith? Is it in your portfolio, your health, your family? Is there smoke showing? Is there smoke showing? So David was so greatly distressed. The men were thinking of killing him. David's gone through some highs and lows. Remember when he found out his lie to Ahimelech, what happened at Nob, and he's like, that's on me. That's my fault. Like the lows, these lows. Let's go with me to Romans chapter 4. Romans chapter 4. We're going to do some synthesis here. We're going to see some supporting scripture here. Romans chapter 4. You know, that's that Abraham being justified by faith. We read in verse 3, Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. As righteousness. I think I got a slide for this, actually. Yep, here we go. You can just look up and read it here. All right, against all hope, Abraham in hope believed, and so became the father of many nations, just as it has been said to him, so shall your offspring be. Without weakening his faith, he faced the fact that his body was as good as dead since he was about 100 years old, and that Sarah's womb was also dead. We're familiar with the story. Yet he did not waver through unbelief regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what he had promised. This is why it is credited to him as righteousness. The words "it was credited to him" were written not for him alone, but also for us, to whom God will credit righteousness for us who believe in him, who raised Jesus from our Lord from the dead. He was delivered over to death for our sins and was raised to life for our justification. We'll go into Romans eventually. When God says it's time for us to go into Romans, we'll meet Romans. Romans, justified by faith. That is the theme of Romans. But here, we're seeing this connection between David being strengthened in the Lord. Abraham was strengthened in the Lord. I feel like the Gospels, the maximum potency of the gospel, the good news, the truth, is when we are at our lowest. It's when we are at our Ziklag, where we're at our end. We're at the end. Light shines bright where? In the darkest places. I love Isaiah. It says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." And so, David strengthened himself in the Lord. I love Lamentations. "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. His compassions, his mercies are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. So I say to myself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore I will wait for him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord." David found strength. He's at his end. He's at his bottom. The stones are nearly going to be tossed to him. He found strength. Isaiah 61:3 says, "He gives beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for despair." See a wildland fire there? Just moonscape. It's going to be all torched. What happens after that? Well, minerals are released, potassium, calcium, magnesium, so that new growth can take place. The sanctifying fire that David is in right now is for God's glory, for his purpose. So here we go. We're getting to the end here. After the flames, the cross remains. Here's the author. He's taking us through God's sovereign hand. He knew all along. This was his plan. Nope, you're not going to fight. I got another thing for you. I got this sanctifying fire. And it's hot. That fire that we went into, it's hot. Sometimes the sanctification, that purification process, it's uncomfortable. That refining fire, it hurts. Okay, that's enough. I'm good. He says, he lets us know when it's time to pull us out. And so that regrowth, that new growth can happen. So if we could fix our gaze upon the cross, that's where we'll find redemption, we'll find restoration, we'll find renewal. Remember 1 Corinthians 1:18, the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved, it is what? The power of God. And it's when we go through that moonscape fires that we can come out of it and be joyful and thankful that he redeemed us, that he saved us, that he's renewed our hearts and our minds and our bodies. All right. Some application buffet table. We got some choices here for you. Have you suffered a loss like David? May the Lord Jesus Christ himself strengthen, encourage, and give you hope. There's fertile soil among the ashes. Maybe you need a Ziklag fire to wipe out the weeds that you have planted in your life. The smoke of judgment is rising. Today could be the day of your salvation. If you have not surrendered to Jesus Christ, do it. What is holding you back from making an authentic decision to follow Christ, to say, yes, I need a Savior. Yes, I am nothing without you. I'm dead in my transgressions and sins. There is no one righteous, not even one. All have sinned. Yes, I believe that. I surrender to you. Turn on the heat of that sanctifying fire in my life. Burn those weeds that I may serve you well, that I may have new growth in you. I could keep going. I'm not. Let's pray. Oh, Lord, we just thank you for your word. We thank you for saving us, redeeming us. Lord, we thank you in the midst of the fires that we're in that are so hot and so uncomfortable. Lord, you're in there with us. Your Spirit, you said you will never leave us nor forsake us. You are purifying us. That is what our sanctification is, Lord, becoming more like you, throwing off things that hinder. And it's all because of your love for us, God. You loved us so much. We can't even understand or grasp that magnitude of love. You love us, Lord. You love us so much. You don't want us to leave us the same way. And so you're going to change us. You're going to change us. That regeneration, that renewal, that rebirth, that stone heart being taken out, that new heart of flesh. We're new creations, Lord. The old is gone, the new has come. Lord, we thank you, God. I pray that we would leave here so full of joy, the joy of our salvation. We need the gospel every day, Lord Jesus. Remind us of who you are, what you did. It's all about you. In Jesus' name, amen.